Hey friends, welcome back. So I have a huge Amazon haul for you. I had originally done part of it, and when I uploaded it, I realized that the video was like garbage, so I took it down. So if you saw a video and then you didn't see it, I realized it did not come out the way that I wanted. So I just made the decision to take it down. So I'm going to just go ahead and go over those items again, and plus some of the other items that I didn't get to. Some of this is a birthday haul because Prime Day was also right around my birthday. So let's get to it. So the first thing that I have for you is a light box that I got. And it's not an unboxing because I did that on the other video that I had to take down because it was a mess. So this is the case that it comes in, which is really nice. I mean, you gotta admit that's pretty nice. It's got a nice little zippered pouch here. I have a really large one, but it's a hassle to take out sometimes because it is really big. Like, it's big enough to fit it's about the size of this mat or somewhat close to. So this is how it looks. Yeah, this is the right side. Now I thought it was looking for something, bear with me. Okay, it is USB. So you have the USB part right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then you got your little controls here. It has a little clip, which I guess you could turn it around this way. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. There's a little clip for you to clip your paper onto, which I think is fabulous. And then you got your little cord for it. It does have to be plugged in. I don't think it charges per se, but it has 6 light settings. Has little stands here to prop it up with, which is really cool if you like diamond paint. I don't personally care to diamond paint. I have zero interest in doing diamond paintings. I would have those little pieces everywhere. They would go everywhere. I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you go to Amazon and just type in light box, you should find it easy enough. But it was like $50, which is not bad considering the nice case that it comes with. The little clip, 6 different light settings, USB runs on the USB, so you don't have to do a bunch of batteries. I would light this up, but I know that it would blind you guys. So that's that. I highly recommend it. Like I said, my big one is great for my larger projects, but I wanted something that I didn't have to drag out. And you see how portable this is. So if you're traveling or whatever, as long as you have a place to plug it in, like a USB thing to plug it into, you should be good to go. So there's that. And let's see, I have some others that were Amazon Prime Day / birthday presents, because Prime Day was just a few days after my birthday, less than a week. So the two kind of blurred together, but these were on sale on Prime Day, and I believe the World of Flowers was $9.21, and the Rooms of Wonder was $8.73, which is like incredible. So I thought I'd do a brief flip through of these because I know there's tons of flip throughs out there of these, and I really didn't need them per se, but I figured for that price, just set them aside and eventually I'll use them. So here's the World of Flowers. And the paper is great, by the way. It's nice, good cardstock. And this one came out in 2018. I think it was like her third book, maybe. I don't remember exactly. It's I know there was Inking the Ivy Butterfly, and there was Magical Secrets. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm having a brain fart. Oh well. I don't remember. But either way, it's one of the early ones. I've did a couple of pages out of this one for my Castle Arts Harmonious pencil set. I did this one and this one, I believe. Yeah, it was these two. Came out really good too. I love that she does these little individual ones. So if you don't have the time or the energy to do a whole page and you just want something quick, these little single type images are absolutely fantastic for that. Wow, this would take a minute. Even though the details are really small, there's a lot to consider in a picture like this, like how you're going to have things shadowed, where you're going to place your shadows. I mean, that would be something for me that would take a second for me to plan out, because I would need to get my perspective situated as to where the light was coming from and all that stuff. I would have to plan a picture like that out. This one, I'm not big on wallpaper images. I'm really not. But they can be good for certain things. I'm not a huge fan of them. It's not that I dislike the image. It's just, I don't know. Stylistically, it's a little overwhelming for me. But these little vignettes like this are perfect. Oh, this paper is so good. It's so thick and heavy. And I like images like this that are a little larger, because these images like this, if my eyes are feeling weak or bothering me, I don't see all that great sometimes, so images like that tend to be sometimes hard for me, which is why I haven't done a lot from her Small Victories. It's very difficult for me. Like, I have to use special glasses on top of my regular glasses for me to see the finer details. Now this is one wallpaper image I might do. The pieces are a little bit larger. I love this one. This is one of my favorite images in the whole book. And even though this is kind of a wallpaper one, I like how everything's kind of spread out. And there's a lot of negative space for you to work within if you wanted to. And same goes for this one. I like all that negative space. Like in her first Secret Garden. That's it. I knew it was going to come to me. Secret Garden and Ivy and the Inky Butterfly were her first two. I knew my brain was going to catch up to it. Not only is the paper drastically different, because I have from close to when they came out, and the paper is different. There's a lot less negative space, and there's a lot of tiny leaves everywhere. They're beautiful books, so don't get me wrong. I have the limited edition for Secret Garden. And there are a few differences. I did a review on that, so Look that up in demos, tutorials, and reviews. It's under that playlist. There are a couple minor changes. This one would take a minute. My gosh, that one would take me a minute. I like this one, by the way, too. This one is a whip from my older book. I have the whole table is basically done. This part right here is done. I just haven't done a whole lot of the rest of the image, but the table came out great. It came out really good. It's just so much detail. My gosh. This is one of my absolute favorite images, and this one too. And this paper is great. I don't remember my other original World of Flowers book being, I don't remember the paper being quite this thick. Interesting. So, see, this is one of those images I may never do this one. There's just, I look at that and I just feel absolutely overwhelmed with all that tiny detail. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad image. Don't roast me. It just, you know, I'm not going to ever be one of those people that is going to do a book of hers from one end to the other. There's just some images that I'm not that crazy about, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Just like if you want to do a whole book from one end to the other, you know, to each their own. Her books have frequently not the special edition one and not the older one. I tend to take those apart and do a lot of wet media stuff with them. And if you're going to do that, I think I have a tutorial on that. I'm not sure at the moment, but you want to get something like this and gently just run it along the spine a few times until and then do a careful test pull. You have to be extremely careful. Let me put this away, sorry, get my arm in the way. But as I was saying, I love all this negative space. I've seen people do some amazing things with that negative space, like folks that can draw way better than me. I've seen some amazing things. I love this one, and this is one of my favorites. And this one, I am so tempted to cut these pages out and make like little individual pictures out of these and like frame them in just like little individual pictures. I'm sure I could find a frame to fit those. I might have to do some hunting, but wouldn't that look cool? And then just sort of put them up together in your house somewhere. That would look really cool. That's kind of a good idea. Hey. Ooh, this one is, it's busy, but it's not, I like the negative space really is what makes it okay for me. That negative space sort of helps to calm my mind a little, so that it's a balance between the busy stuff and then like the empty space kind of creates this mental balance for me, if that makes any sense. This would be great to do for St. Patty's Day. Just food for thought. Now, I'm really not into coloring bugs much. I'll do worms, butterflies, and bees. That's kind of about it. I'm not a big bug person. I have done this image in its entirety. This is one of my absolute favorite images. These images are great for when I want to do a quick quick coloring, or I want to test out some pencils, or if I just want to do a quick little video. These little vignettes are absolutely perfect for that. This is one that it looks simple on its face, but it's actually more complicated than it looks. But I really love this one. And this one too. This one's okay. It's not one of my favorites, but it's okay. I really like that one. And this one is great for if you're for like a Halloween, the Day of the Dead, and they're not the same thing, by the way. Don't get it twisted. They're two entirely different things, but they often get put together. But this is a Day of the Dead right here, and it's an entirely different thing than Halloween. So these are great. And that's it. And there's a little test palette page, which I highly recommend if you have markers and things like that. I highly recommend you don't ever use alcohol markers unless you don't care about the other side, because it will bleed through. All of them, any of them, doesn't matter which brand. They will bleed through. Water markers and fine liners, if you're careful and you don't go heavy-handed with them, can be okay, but I recommend testing on this. And this is the thing I love the best, this right here. Besides the fact that you can color on the cover and the inside of the jacket. Look at this. Isn't that cool? I mean, I have to, it's not going to get in the whole frame, but look at that. Isn't that cool? And then the other side has stuff too. See? And it's a completely different image. And then this is the inside of the dust cover. And this, by the way, comes out, I think. Isn't that cool? So, let's move on. All right. Rooms of Wonder, which is one of her newer books. I love this because this is great for practicing your metal if you want to. And this one came out in 2022, so it's only a couple years old. It's one of her newer ones. This one does not have a dust cover or a pull-out double page like the other one, which is disappointing, but you know, it's probably, who knows why she didn't. I don't know. But this one, oh my gosh, this would take a long time. But again, with the little mini images, I absolutely love this. Sometimes my eyes cannot do them because they're so small. But some of them are not, like this one is really simple. These ones are moderate. They're called vignettes, like I was, telling you about in the other book. I like these because, again, they're great just for if you don't have a ton of time and other different things. They're like bite-sized portions versus this, which is not. And she is coming out with a new book. It's going to be released in October. Here, anyway. Now, I know that her books typically come out, sometimes they come out earlier overseas, and then we get them later, like a month or two later. I don't know what the deal with that is, but it's whatever. I've seen some fabulous versions of that one. This would take a hot minute. It's beautiful, but it is very busy. This is one of my favorite images. I love this one. And this one too. I think I did this one, actually. This one is great if you want to practice your mushrooms, but again, I have vision issues, so sometimes I can't always do small things like this, even with help. But it's a cute image. I mean, there's a lot of really cute mushrooms on there. And I love this one. It's got, like, this is an image from one of her, it's a partial image from one of her books, her other books, and so is this one. I love this whole double page. It's really great. And this one, my gosh, I've seen people that have done these too. And I've seen some beautiful, beautiful colorings of this. This is one of my absolute favorite in the whole book. This one, not so much. I did one of these. I did it like in a black and white type look, and it came out pretty good. I just haven't had the motivation to do the rest of them. I like this one. I like that one. This one is very, very busy. Very busy. Check this out. Look how busy that is. So busy. It's gorgeous, but it's so busy. Oh, got lots of fruit and a blender for making smoothies. I did this one too. Yeah, I did this one, and it came out really good too. This is one of my favorites. I haven't done it yet, but I will eventually. This one's cute. See, now I like this one. I like the key part. I'm really not into all the scroll work per se. Honestly, I find the scroll work to be rather tedious and not that enjoyable. But that's just, I guess, a personal preference. Excuse me. This is one of my favorites. I absolutely love this one. It's so cute. She has a nice variety of simple and then the little tiny solo images to full-on busy double pages. She has a little of everything, and I really like that. I've seen some really cool versions of this. If you go to her on her website, she has a gallery where people can post their finished images of any of her books. And I've seen, so if you want inspiration, as long as you're not like gonna outright copy of it, I've seen some wonderful, I've gotten some wonderful ideas from just looking at the other images that people have done. So that's just some food for thought. This is one of my absolute favorites, that one. And this one. This one's good. Now this one, if you like to color metal, steampunk things like that, this is a good image for that, and so is this one. And so are these. How cute are these? I might do this one soon. I like that one. Which, if I was to do one of these, which one would you guys like? Let me know in the comments. Or I'll post it up so you can see a little better. Which one from this page would you like me to do? Let me know in the comments. These are cute. I've seen some really cool ones where people have put in like a brick image. I'll show you something if I can find it. Ah, here it is. I am working, this is one I'm working on from, I think it's World of Flowers, I'm not sure. This is, you could do a brick like this behind an image like that, set images like that. You could put up a brick pattern like this. If you would like to know how I did this, let me know. I would be happy to do a little tutorial on it. These, I love all these little images, are cute. I'm not so much into the Mandela ones, but that's just, you know, I'm not saying they're bad images or they're not pretty. I'm not really a Mandela kind of person so much. I used to be, sort of. Ta-da! These are cute. And this one is done a lot, and I love all this negative space because you can put a whole underwater sea scene with this. I mean, your imagination and your abilities are your only limits. All this negative space, just, there's so much you could do with that. And this is also a really great one. I love the little birthday room inside the cake. That's a really cool idea. That's cute, but tiny. And that's it. There's more keys here. Your ta-da. So let's keep it moving. The other thing, let's see, there's a couple more things. I had to get a new Staedtler sharpener, and I love this sharpener for a couple different reasons. I typically use my AF mat for most of my pencils when I'm at home. I'm gonna unplug this. This is the one I typically use, and I highly recommend, by the way. It's a great sharpener. It has, you know, point adjustment settings, fantastic sharpener. But when I'm on the go, like say if I'm at the pool and I take some of my harder crayons so they don't melt as quickly, you know, I needed a little portable sharpener, and this one is my old one, and as you can see, like the little thing broke off and the blades have gotten a bit dull. I mean, it wasn't expensive. It was like $6, maybe $7, it was like $6 something. It was under $7. And it's really great because it has this little lid that you can pop off. And it has the little, you have to squeeze kind of. It's a little tricky to get it off. You have to kind of squeeze. But it has a little container for your shavings. And don't let it build up too much, because if you do, it can affect how it sharpens, and you might find your stuff not sharpening as well and breaking and stuff. And sometimes that happens if it gets too full. So that's just food for thought. But this is a really great sharpener for you know, when you're on the go. I highly, highly recommend it. So there's that. And here we go. All right, these are two separate things, but they kind of go together. So I got these from, these are all, well, also part of Amazon. This is FC Club. I don't know. It's not really sure what that means, but just their name. Empty watercolor palette. Now, I got this one because I wanted something to put my gouache in. And I had a really hard time finding one that had full pans, not half pans. And this was like $10, guys. I mean, yeah, 20 pieces with full pans, it was $10. This right here was $7 without the tin, just the little pans, half pans, and it would have been $10 with these pans. So that's not bad. And I believe, I don't remember the company for these ones. Let's see if it says on here. It does not. It just said it was made in China. Oh well. But I have not opened this yet, so let's see what this looks like. And I'm going to be doing a video with this where I sort of make up my gouache palette. I would recommend keeping these, by the way. They could come in handy if you have to travel with it, and like say something maybe leaks a little, this might sort of help with that a little, possibly. And you can also wipe your brush on them and they'll just wash off. So that's just food for thought. Look at that, $10, guys. And it comes with the little strips to go underneath of it, and you just basically peel underneath. I'll show you. Make sure your hands aren't too oily, by the way. And you just put them on like that. Well, that's a little crooked. And then watch this. You can't feel the resistance when you pick it up, but it secures it, sort of. I mean, they will move if you jar it hard enough, but I would recommend intentionally doing that. But I just like that these have the full pans. The plastic's a little cheap, but it will do. So that is coming down the road. I do plan on doing a little palette making video for that. So that will be coming down the road eventually. And I got these separate because I wanted to make up. I have another tin that's just an empty tin. I am not sure where the tin went to, but that I have for these, it seems to have grown legs and walked away. Oh wait, here it is. Got it. Okay, this is not part of the Amazon haul. I got this at Blix. But I wanted to show it to you. This, I went to Blix for my birthday, so that's a whole nother video. But basically, I got these so I could make up a palette. You just slide them right in and kind of do a little squeeze and to secure it, and there you go. I mean, $10 for this, and I think this was about the same, roughly. So there's that. And I got this because you can never have enough of these. Now, I will say this: it was like $8.99 or something like that. It was not expensive. I use this one a lot more, the full wax one, than I do this one. This one is the blender, and then this one is like a brightener. Now this one right here, the brightener, I would not recommend coloring very hard with it. This one, it breaks like at the drop of a hat. It's a little frustrating. You can't push real hard. It just snaps. The tip of it just snaps like crazy. It's maddening. But $8.99, you know, you can't really beat that. These are, yeah. I wanted to make sure I grabbed the right box. There we go. Okay. These are the pens that I got. I absolutely love these. I have tested them out. And of course, I'm making that other video that I took down because it was messed up. But I did do a swatch. This is the Arteza paint pen. So, whoops. And that just went flying. And this is just the regular one, the regular paint pens, which would be this set. As you can see, I did this on black paper because I thought it would be interesting to see how they show up. The fluorescent ones, the green one didn't show up that much. The pink one showed up the best, and the gold one and the silver showed up the best, or the elephant gray, sorry. And as far as these ones, obviously the white, the Arctic blue, and the lime green and the ballerina pink, I think. But they wrote really nicely. I did a little writing with them, and they write really nice. So if you need to do some sort of script with them, it's totally doable. You just shake them, and they prime pretty quickly. I unfortunately had a video where I showed how they looked before they were primed, and as I said before, that one is no more, but I'll show you. Yeah, see, as you can see, they write very smoothly. You could even write cursive. Okay. So I thought I'd write a little bit with it, just to show you guys. Let me zoom in just a little bit here, so you can see. Just give it a little prime. You could also do dot art painting with that, and by dot art, I mean like what I just did, only like times a billion. See? This is really great for that sort of thing. These are lousy, but you get the idea. You could do a whole, they're really great for that sort of thing. And you can use, like, these are the, I think these are the regular, are these the, yeah, these are the regular ones, not the metallic ones. But the the metallic ones come in like, there's 3 of them that have like the bigger tips. So you could do that, and you can see that it writes pretty smoothly. So yeah, these are definitely worth getting. And as I said a minute ago, I could not believe that they were the whole like plants, trees kind of thing. That's pretty cool. They're really nice pens. And the metallic ones are pretty sparkly. I mean, they're not like super sparkly, but like what I mean about the different tips. So if you're doing dot art, like tip size, and you're using paint pens, tip size matters. So you would do like, this could be like, these bigger ones could be like good for the center. And then you could grab your smaller ones. Let's see, let's grab this one. And you don't even need to press real hard, actually. I would not recommend pushing too hard, because these little plastic tips can actually be quite fragile. It's really surprising. But if you're doing like dot art, you could do something like that. And again, if you need to write, they're pretty nice for that. So they're all, and this one also supposedly plants trees, which is really cool. But yeah, these are pretty good. So let's see, let's move on camera. But I will probably do, there is a good possibility I would do separate videos on these. They're both from Arteza, and this one is metallic gouache, and then these are just like regular colors. As I remember correctly, this one, okay, so these are the gouache paint that I bought. They're really nice. So I am missing a paint. I don't know what happened to it exactly. Yeah, it's missing. Of course it is. So what happened? I don't know what happened to the paint, but I was unwrapping it, and the seam popped. I've never had that happen before, but the seam popped right along here, and I had paint like just go all over my hands. It was ridiculous. So if that ever happens to you, what I did is I just kind of gently squeezed it to see where it was, and then cleaned the tube up, and then I put I wrapped a little duct tape around it, and that sealed it up just fine. I don't know where it went to, but it's a pretty color. These are the regular 24 count of the regular colors. They're nice and bright. I believe it was 25 for these ones, and these ones I paid 34, but they are currently, as of today's taping, which is the 19th, these are on sale for a limited time for 25. I would hopefully by the time I get this edited, they'll still be on sale, but as of today's taping, they are on sale for $25, which is, as I said, less than I paid for. So if they're still on sale, I would hop on that. But aren't they pretty? And I mean, these are really, really, really nice colors. They're so pretty. I will probably do a swatch on these. Aren't those pretty? Oh, and be careful too. I also got a cut from the plastic. This plastic part right here sort of paper cutted me, in a manner of speaking. So watch out, that plastic is kind of razor. It's not like if you run your finger over it, it's not gonna do it, you know, cut you, but I did it in such a way that it sort of did that. So I would just be a little careful when you're handling this part right here. It can be a little sharp. But yeah, they're gouache. Gouache is like if watercolor and acrylic paint had a baby. Now, the difference is these are acrylic gouache, and I think acrylic gouache and the regular gouache, I think they're two different things, if I remember correctly. I'm still very new to gouache. I know kind of like acrylic gouache, I don't think reactivates, but the regular gouache does. So what I ought to do is just do a little test. When I do the videos for these, I'll do like a little test to find out, because I think these will not, but these will. And these ones are so pretty. Let's get the box off lid, and I'll show you guys. Move this out of the way. All right, aren't those pretty, guys? I mean, look at that. The tubes are smaller, but aren't those pretty? I mean, look at all these pretty colors. They're so pretty. These pretty colors. Ta-da. They're so pretty. Oh my gosh. Look at all these nice colors. And then this is the last row. Aren't those pretty? So, this is where like your coppers and silvers and some of your golds are. It's on the bottom here. But aren't those really pretty? I will probably very likely do a separate video on these. I am curious though. I didn't realize I had bought acrylic gouache. I gotta find out whether these will reactivate or not. Let's see. Oh yeah, there is a QR code here for the, you know, the tips and their club, Arteza club info. Let's see. I'm looking to see if, yeah, here it says learn more about this product. So you can go to arteza.com and that QR code will take you there. I thought that was a different kind of code. The paint pens have a, like a tips code and a QR code, but this one just has a QR code for like learn more about it. So they also have a Facebook page, Instagram, and a 1-888 number. Used to be 1-800 in my day, that you can call it too if you have questions and stuff like that. It does show light fastness and transparency and pigment numbers on here. I'm curious if this one does the same. Hold on. Okay, so no, this one has the helpful hints and 20% off, and let's see. And I guess that's it for that one. That's interesting. This one doesn't seem to have those. It just has this code. That's very interesting. Oh, that's weird. Anyway, I will probably do a separate video of these, but I think I'll open just one because I want to see. And there's no like little swatch cards for either of these, unfortunately, but let's pop one open and see, just to see if it has like a seal in it. It does not. Okay. But I'll squeeze some of this out so you can see. Woo! A little too much there. Hello. Okay, that was not in the game plan, but isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Look how pigmented that is. Well, that was not in the game plan. Yikes. You were not supposed to come out like that. You turkey. Okay, well, okay, I have paint out now. Okay, so since that happened, I tend to be very messy with my art. Since that happened, what I'm going to do is grab some paper real quick and let's push this out of the way. Since it's all over my fingers now, geez, I might as well. So when you do it like this, see how opaque it is? That's another difference. Watercolor generally is transparent or semi-transparent. Gouache is very opaque. Almost always it's very opaque. You see how it's like it's opaque like oh, look at that gorgeous color, you guys. I hate that I wasted so much paint, but isn't that absolutely gorgeous? And you see how opaque it is. That's gouache is very opaque. And so if you like, say you're doing a watercolor picture and you want to do a section that is, and this is why I always keep a towel with me. You use the gouache, you kind of layer the gouache over it, over the those certain areas of the watercolor, and it will like it'll behave a little like acrylic in that it'll be more opaque, but this type should be able to be reactivated. But I don't think that the regular colors will. I will do a test and find out. As I said, I'm still kind of new to gouache. That's kind of why I bought these. But look how pretty that is. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. So yeah, these are going to be fun to play with. I kind of can't wait. So now the next thing I have. Okay, so the paints that I got have turned out to be fabulous. I've already did kind of a swatch on my own of them and played around with a couple of them a little bit, and oh my gosh, these they're amazing. So the first I have is Turner's Yellow from Winsor Newton, and this Turner's Yellow was a little expensive. It was about $25, but you see the size of the tube, and it's Winsor Newton, so it's absolutely 100% worth it. This tube of paint, if I take care of it, will last me a long time. It's a color I've never experimented before with, so I was just pretty excited for that. Then I have another one called Rose d'Or, and it's spelled D-O-R-E, but it's pronounced like D-O-O-R. Maybe it's French or something. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like a salmon pink almost, but with like a different undertone. That's just my opinion. And let's see, we have, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I paid, let's see, I paid $25 for the Turners, and then I paid $18 for this one. So this one was a little cheaper. Now, I don't know, I guess the difference being is that maybe the pigments were more expensive to resource or make or whatever, maybe. Because they're the same size, yet the price difference is like $6. I mean, some change. That's very interesting to me, and I guess maybe the sourcing and making was maybe cheaper for this one. But so that was that. And before I forget, You remember earlier in the video, I had a little incident with my gouache. So what I did off camera is I just put some duct tape around it and kind of gently did this to try and kind of seal it a little bit, and it seems to be working. So I would say if that happens to you and the whole tube isn't like completely destroyed, just, you know, grab some duct tape and just, there you go. So I just thought you'd like an update on that. I'm doing this part of the video on a different day. I just didn't have time to finish it the other day. So and let's see, we also have the magnesium brown. I started to say I can't even talk today, my God. Anyway, magnesium brown. Words are hard. This is a gorgeous color, guys. I can't wait to show that to you. We also have lamp black. And while I have lamp black already, it's a Master's Touch, which is like Hobby Lobby's generic. And I just wanted, it was good for when I was first learning the color. But I wanted a slightly better quality this time around. And I'm not knocking Master's Touch per se. Some of their generic stuff is good and some of it is not. Their paint is okay, but it has a lot of fillers, and it kind of shows. I mean, you know, that's generic for you. So I got a better quality this time, and this is m.graham. And m.graham, their stuff, my God, it is so pigmented. It is like a little. This tube will last me forever. Sorry, you just need a little. It's so their paints are so strong and pigmented, especially like their terracotta. Oh my gosh, you might need an amount the size. I keep dropping things. The amount the size of the lid on this paint. It's just a little goes a long way. I don't know why I keep dropping things. My arthritis is acting up, I guess. Anyway, I also did something that I wanted to do a little comparison. I realized I did not have any burnt umber in a tube. I just have it in 1 or 2 half pans, I think, that came already made up. And so I wanted to see, I got a budget and a brand, like in a slightly higher end brand name. You know, Daniel Smith is no slouch. And Van Gogh, their stuff for their price is extremely pigmented and very, very good quality. And I will say that the Van Gogh, I like that they have the light fastest, which is, this is a 3, and then the little the square for transparency, and then the number. Daniel Smith just has the name, and that's like it. I mean, oh, it does. Oh, I take that back. It does say hold on, I can't read this, y'all. Hold on a second. I need to get my old lady equipment out. Hold on. Okay, it says PBR7C, and I think there's an I after it. 77492. I don't know what that means exactly. But the vehicle, gum Arabic solution. But it does not say. Oh, there, it does say. Okay, I was wrong. I could not find it with my straight up old lady eyes. So, bring it out put the tape on it. Jeez. Okay. It does say the light fatness. It's right here. It's so small though, you guys. Light fastness, series 1, light fastness 1, resistance, and I'm not sure what the resistance means exactly. Not quite sure what they mean by that precisely. But it does say, it's just not as obvious as it is on the Van Gogh. But I wanted to see how they compared, like taking 2 different ones and comparing them. I thought that would be fun. So those are the paints that I have to play around with. So let's go. Excuse me. Oh, I almost forgot. Hold up. This is really important when you're testing paints. I am currently looking for my Sharpie. Here we go. I almost forgot. This is a good way to tell how transparent a paint is. Just get a Sharpie, and it needs to be a Sharpie because Sharpies are hold on. Sorry, I'm a little OCD sometimes. Because the Sharpies won't smear once they're dry. Uh-oh, and my Sharpie just died. Have you guys ever had days like this? Please tell me in the comments if y'all have ever had a day like that. Where stuff just goes sideways like that and you're like, why? All right, let's grab another one. All right, and this Sharpie is going in the trash. There we go. Try that again. All right. Wow. And I forgot to put my rings on. Oh well. All right, so just let them dry. It doesn't take more than a few seconds. But what I thought I would do is once I get these swatched for you, I'm going to turn them over and I'm going to show you guys something that's really cool. It's a mix of some of these colors that I just kind of like, wow, that's so good. You know, let's see if these are dry. It dries pretty quickly, but you do want to make sure the Sharpie is dry. That's kind of a good way to test. Okay, they seem like they're dry. Sharpies dry very quickly, so it's not a big deal. Now, let's grab our Turner's Yellow. This color is absolutely amazing, y'all. Let me see. I gotta read something. Old lady, and I have glasses too, by the way. I need new ones, though. Okay, let's see. Made in France? Cool. Not made in China. Yes, made in France. I'm trying to see if I could read this. Oh, it's so small though, guys. I can't, even with this, I can't read it, but it does list the specs on it. I just can't read it, guys, even with my, hold on. Let's see. There we go. Let's try this. Yeah, it's still too small. Anyway, sorry. It's just too small. But I'm guessing that, let me see. It's a series 3. Now I don't know exactly what any of that means, like series 1, series 3. I honestly, if you know in the comments, let me know. I'm not quite sure what that means. I know that series 3 it is more expensive than this one, which is a series 4. This one costs more money. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, that's, and the matte magnesium brown is a series 1. The rose Dior is 4. So I don't know. If you guys know, please let me know what that means exactly. I really don't know. So anyway, let's get this on a little palette here. Let's put this in just a little, since I'm just like, that's literally probably more than enough. Look how beautiful this color is, guys. Check that out. Isn't that absolutely stunning? This might be one of my new favorite colors. It is just like, oh my God, it's so gorgeous. Okay. Add a little water, just not too much though. Just a little. All right, let's see how this looks. Make sure. There we go. That is definitely very transparent. That is definitely transparent. Wow. Yep, that's super transparent. You see how little it covered that up? I mean, that is a sign that it is highly transparent. Now, I don't know about staining or anything like that. I haven't been able to find any information about that. It really might be one of my new favorite colors. I'm just absolutely in love with this color. Excuse me, guys. All right, so here's the magnesium brown, and this is also a stunning color. So let's put this in it. And again, this one was, cheaper because it's a smaller tube, and I believe it was $9.22. Yeah. And that's just because it was a smaller tube. If it was the size of the other two, it would definitely be a little more. But again, you don't need, and sometimes watch out, some of the paints, Van Gogh especially is prone to this, but if you open it up, it comes shooting out of the tube just from being pressurized a little bit. So just watch out for that. Some Van Gogh, they are typically the worst when it comes to that. Their pigments are gorgeous and everything like that, but they are one of the worst for paints just shooting up out of the tube. So just heads up. All right, let's rinse my brush here, and do yourself a favor. Even if you're swatching, have like a paper towel or hand towel. These things, I highly recommend them. You can buy them in a box like you would a Kleenex, and they're stronger than paper towels. I mean, you can see how strong they look. They're fabulous. You can get a whole bunch of there's like 6 of them at like BJ's, and I would recommend BJ's over Costco any day. Just FYI. Okay, let's get this going. Now, you see how beautiful that is? Look at that, guys. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. It's absolutely stunning. It has this beautiful, yellow undertone to it. I don't know. Let's see how it looks here. Huh. It's interesting the way it's just sliding across the paper. The Turner's Yellow did not do that. Do you see that? That is very interesting. It's just sliding across it. The Turner's Yellow did not do that. It's clearly very transparent. I mean, wow. I was not expecting that at all. That is really weird. Huh. I don't remember it doing this to me before, but maybe it's just the paper I'm using. It might be the paper. Because I've played around with this paint a little bit, and I don't recall it sliding around like that. That's really weird. But it's a gorgeous color. It's also very transparent, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's also marginally staining. But it's just such a gorgeous color. And I want to make this a little bit darker just so that I can see how it looks dark versus lighter. That's why I'm just kind of adding. I'm adding this in just so that I can tell for myself later on. Okay, so let's move on to the next color. Rose D'Or. And it's weird how they spell door. I guess it's a French thing maybe. I don't know. Not sure, but look at that gorgeous color, guys. Let me make sure my camera's gonna focus. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Oh, I got some good paints this time. So again, you just need a little. Like that literally is probably more than enough for a swatch. It's probably too much. And if you hear landscaping sounds in the background, I apologize. They're weed eating across the street and all edging and all that stuff. And I'm like, ugh, really, guys? Now? Okay, so let's get this a little wet. You don't want too much water. I think I might have added a little too much water with that, probably. Yeah, I think I just added too much water. Okay, let's see how this one works. Doesn't this sort of remind you of a darker version of salmon pink, though? Oh, jeez. That's too much. I had to pause it because the freaking landscapers were in my yard. So I rant so I don't have to mess with my yard as much, which is nice, but it can be disruptive at times. Okay, so again, this sort of reminds me of a darker version of salmon pink. Like if salmon pink, if you just added a little bit of the right shade of red, I think you would kind of come up with this. I think it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it also seems to be quite transparent. You see how it's barely, it's a little less so maybe than the Turner's yellow. I really just don't like how this. Sorry guys, I'm sort of OCD when it comes to my swatches, like especially my watercolor swatches. It's a thing. Okay, so let's go to the burnt umbers. And this is what I thought would be fun and fascinating, to see if there was a difference in the way they laid down. Maybe if there was a slight difference in the tonal quality of it. So I'm gonna lay out a little of the Van Gogh, just a little. Maybe a little more. Okay. And it's such a versatile color. Every burnt umber, burnt sienna, and raw umber should be in everybody's palette. It should be in every palette because you can do so many things with those 4 paints. It would kind of blow your mind. So I've got the Van Gogh there. I don't know if you can see that. And then I've got the, oh, way too much. You see what I mean about it popping out and kind of exploding out the top a little bit? I've already had that issue with the Van Gogh, but I was surprised to find the Daniel Smith doing it a little bit. They typically don't as much. They must be kicking up some stuff outside. Ugh. Anyway, all right, let's roll. So get a little water. Make sure you don't have too much water in your brush, especially if you're doing a swatch. You don't want it to be super fluid. And you want it to be fluid, but not like, I don't know, like not if you're doing a wash or anything, you know. So here we have the Van Gogh IE Royal Talons. Oops! Shoot! Whoopsie! I almost stuck it in the wrong one. Lord. All right, let's try that again. I just wanted to layer it a little bit thicker to see. I would say this is semi-transparent, my opinion. I wouldn't say it's super transparent, but it's half, partially. That's my humble opinion. I think it's partially transparent. All right, let's go. Let's get the Daniel Smith. I think I had too much water on my brush. Yep, too much water on my brush. This is what I mean, but when you're doing a swatch, not to have too much water on your brush, because otherwise it's gonna not look right. So what I've got to do is go in and just and make sure that you clean around your lids, because that will harden and eventually build up, and it will make your lids hard to get on and off. I've run into that so many times you could not even imagine. And I'm not even going to dip this in water, because I need to know how it's going to look when I have it as opaque as I can get it. Wow. I should have done that with that, but you know what? As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. Hold on. Rinse my brush out good so I don't get them confused. See, that's what I mean by how rich that is. Look at that. Oh, that's wild. And you see me, what I'm doing is I'm dabbing my brush on that paper towel. I think that's a little too dark. All right, that's better. So I will say that the Van Gogh does not slide around as much on the paper as the Daniel Smith. The Daniel Smith is made with some sort of, I think they said blackberry honey. So it tends to glide around more on the paper, which is another reason why it did that, and I had to go back in and kind of add more coverage. It tends to glide around a little bit differently. I don't think Van Gogh does that with the honey, but it does make a difference. Some people don't like it, and I don't know enough yet to know whether I dislike it or not. I don't hate it. I have to play around with it some more to kind of get a better feel for it, but that would be my main difference. And I think the Van Gogh might be just a little bit darker, partly because I layered it over it, but it might just be the tonal quality is a little bit darker. Let's layer a little more of the Daniel Smith in and see if that is the case here. Oops, that's a little too much. Hold on. A little too much there. All right, let's try this again. All right, that was a little too much. But you see how saturated that is, so it's like, oh, wow. And the paper keeps moving on me. Hold on, people. All right, there we go. Yeah, this definitely glides on a little bit differently, and I like that they're more even now. So I would say the tonal quality is about the same. I think the Van Gogh might just be a little, like I said earlier, I'm going to stab at it. I think the Van Gogh might just be a little bit darker. I think the honey might be influencing its tonal quality just a little bit. It does spread around differently on the paper. So that's just some food for thought. And watch out, because this one is popping up way more, and I'm going to have to clean around that, or it's just going to keep making more of a mess and so forth. it pays to kind of, you know, if you get paint inside your lid, it might be worth your time to rinse your lid out every so often, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to get on that, and it's going to cause you problems, trust me. So I want to see what the the magnesium brown looks like if I add a little more paint to it. And I think I need to get a little more out of the tube. I want to see how it looks a little bit darker. And then between that and the rose, we're gonna move on to something else. I just want to see how it looks when it's not really thoroughly wetted down. You know, when it's more pigment than water, it definitely makes a difference on how much coverage you get. Look at that, gorgeous. So what you saw was basically a wash version, and that's what it would look like with very little water. It definitely makes a huge difference. And let's do that with the rose too. I'm very curious as to how it looks fully set, you know, pigmented without a whole lot of water. I really gotta see. Hold on. And I'm going to go straight from the tube here instead of the palette. I'm gonna go straight from the tube. After doing that, I want to see how it looks purely pigmented. Oops, my paper's tearing. It's not the greatest quality paper. It's like my cheap Canson paper. You know, it's good for when you're playing around, but it's really not the best paper. For a beginner, it's really good. But if you're, you know, at the stage where you're doing a little more things and you've learned more, I would definitely invest in some better paper. This is just the paper that I picked to show you guys the swatching of the paints. So, are these not absolutely gorgeous, guys? I absolutely am in love with these colors. This one is a fantastic color for like sand, brick, landscaping. This is good for this could be good for flowers, skin, believe it or not. The burnt umber can be used in almost everything, and there's burnt umber. I could do a whole video just on burnt umber and burnt sienna. Seriously, if you want me to, let me know. It is just incredible what these paints can do. Now, last but not least, we have the lamp black. Now, I have an idea. I'm gonna get what's left of the old lamp black that I have from Master Touch, and we're gonna do a quick comparison because I think it's worth showing you guys the difference. Okay, so this is the original lamp black that I had, and again, I'm not knocking their watercolor paint, and their gouache especially is actually kind of nice. It just, like, if you're not careful and you don't shake it up, when you open it, it's bunch of the fillers and all that stuff is just gonna be the first thing that comes out before the paint. And that just, they use more things to sort of fill it out, and less pigment, and that's why they're cheaper. Now, this was kind of a spur of the moment thing I just thought of. I thought, why not? It gives people an idea that sometimes there is a difference in budget versus brand. Sometimes there isn't. Like, Van Gogh is to me a budget-friendly paint that is extremely good for being a budget paint. Their paints are so good. So I would highly recommend, if you're on a budget, Van Gogh is the way to go. Their paints are the most pigmented for being a budget that I've ever come across. And then I'm gonna do the m.graham. And m.graham, my God, that their stuff, as I said earlier, is so pigmented. It is just ridiculous. I absolutely love their paints. They are the bomb. All right, so let's pull this over because it's getting yucky looking. All right, so here we have the m.graham, and then which was from Amazon, and then we have the lamp back here, the Master's Touch from Hobby Lobby. So, and I don't have a ton of water, just a little from when I rinsed my brush. See, this is one way too that you can tell that this is cheaper paper. You see how the paint just kind of seems to sit on top of it for a while instead of just soaking right in? That is a clue that it is that the paper is not 100% cotton. Paper that is like made from recycled stuff and whatnot. Mash. I think they call it like mash. The paper. It's complicated, but it's not 100% cotton. And the way that paint just sort of laid on top of it, I don't know if I'm going to bring this up so you guys can see what I mean. Do you see how it's just kind of sitting on top of it? And then it's sort of slowly soaking in. That is your biggest red flag that it is not 100% cotton. Just as a FYI. But having said that, do you see how rich that pigment is? It is definitely it's either not, I would say partially transparent. It is definitely not transparent. I would say partially transparent. But it is gorgeous and rich, and it's a stunning, and it's also a very, if you look at it closely, in fact, I'm going to go back over it with some more. You see how warm it is? Lamp black is a warm black. Ivory is a cool black. That is a warm black. So, and you say, well, that doesn't really matter. Yes, it does. Not all blacks are created equal. And I know some people don't use black at all, or they don't use white at all, whatever. To me, the blacks are good for adding depth. If you want to make a color a little bit darker, just a little bit of black can do that. Or if you want to make something to stand out, if you're doing a limited palette, black is really, really cool if you use it properly. And if your tonal quality is cool, your temperature, sorry, not your tonal quality, your temperature, the overall temperature of your picture is cool, then you want an ivory black. If the temperature is warm, a lamp black. It influences the paints that you use with it, and it can completely change the temperature of your picture and kind of cause it to clash. That's been my experience. So, but as you can see, it went on very nicely, very creamy, very smooth, just absolutely gorgeous. So let's get just a little water. And when you do, this is a side subject, and please excuse my dirty palette, or not my dirty palette, my dirty water tray. When you rinse your brush out, rinse it first on one side, and you can tell this really needs to be changed. And then you rinse it on this side. Always do this. You see that water dripping down? Always, always do that, unless you want a whole bunch of water in your paper, which for a particular application you may. But always do that, always. And you can have a mess. All right. Ooh. This is way darker. Bro. Hold up. That surprises me. I don't know if I just had too much water in my m.graham, maybe. I'm going to try my m.graham again because that really shocked me. I've never had it go like that. That is crazy. Hold on. I got to see if that's going to do it again. I'm going to put a little more in my little tube here. While I throw my paints around. I want to see if this does this again. Yeah, okay, there it is. I just had too much water. Okay, there it is. Whoa. Look at that. So, that is to show you how much importance water plays in watercolor. I had some water mixed in with this and it came out more of a dark gray versus here where it was just whatever was left after straining the excess water off of my brush, and you can see it's a little bit closer. Dude, that is just dark. And also, did you notice how it influenced the temperature of and the tonal quality too? It sort of made the brown aspects of it, the brown undertones, show up a little more, and it made it lighter, so more like a dark gray. That's how much of a difference water plays when you're using watercolor. That's just, I don't know, little side note there. I could go on all day about watercolor. It's just the most fascinating journey I've ever been on. So that is done, and oh, it's still traveling right here. Ooh, hold on. Let's see if I can get this to... I'm going to see if I can get this to travel down on me. It's still wet enough that the paint's moving. And also, the less water you have, the less the paint's going to move. So if you want to do something you need it to stay in a specific area, and you want it more opaque, less water. If you want a wash or something lighter than like here, then use a little bit more water. Just food for thought. But, well, this is pretty close. However, the thing that I like about this versus this is that you can see the tonal quality is different, and this glides on differently. This, oddly enough, glides a little bit more than the MG, which is the m.graham, sorry, which is interesting to me. That's very interesting. It may be the fillers that they use, perhaps. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, guys. I would be interested in your opinions about all of that. So, let's move on now. There was one thing I almost forgot to do. I was going to show you guys the mix of these three paints. It's absolutely fabulous. So I need a little of each. I'm going to put just a little. I don't need too much. It is such a fabulous mix. I did a short about it and it didn't do well, and I'm not sure why. So I just took it down. But it's such a fabulous mix that I was like, ooh. And the uses for the landscaping uses for it, nature, skin. I mean, I was just like, wow. You wouldn't think, but it's just, and the colors are all, whoops, oh, that came out too fast. These two are cool. That one has a hint of a warm undertone, and that's warm, obviously. So I wanted to show you guys what these look like next. Oh my gosh! And again, I hope you'll excuse the dirty water. That was definitely needs to be changed. All right. So let's just take a little of the magnesium and just drop it into here. Need a little more water. All right. Okay, rinse my brush out. And when you're doing this, kind of make sure you rinse your brush out a little bit, because here, let me get my water paper over here. You don't want them to mix until you actually go to mix them. Especially if you plan on going back into that paint for another use. Now, you have to play around with it to get the you know, what's the word I'm looking for? The tonal and temperature quality. And I think I might have a little too much magnesium brown here for what I want to show you guys. So what I'm going to do is take my rose d'or, and I'm going to just go straight with the lid and grab a little bit. Make sure your brush is clean when you do that, by the way. Yeah, just a little heads up there. All right, let's play around with this until I'm there. You see how that changes the temperature and the tonal quality? Yeah, that changed it. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so here we go. Can you imagine doing that, like on skin or landscape, you know, nature, any kind of a nature pic? I mean, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Look at that. Oh. And this is how it looks when it's kind of in a wash form, and this is how it looks when it's more saturated and pigmented, less water. But look at that color, guys. It's kind of, it looks orangey on the camera, but it's, I wonder if this is gonna, hold on, let's try something. I want to see if I can get the paint to move. Yeah, there it goes. Woo. Give it a good tap, see if I can get it to hurry up. Sometimes you can give it a shake if you need to. A couple taps. Wow. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Now, what I'm going to do real quick is dry it, because as you know, or if you don't know, watercolor is notorious for sometimes completely changing when it's wet versus dry. Sometimes it can change almost completely and be like completely different. It's really mind-blowing to me. You know, it's funny, when I was blow drying this, because I have a little blow dryer that I use like this, my cat is sitting next to me and he didn't even flinch. Check this out. There he is, completely unfazed, just chilling out. Say hi, Felix. Felix, say hi. No? No hi? You see, he's just totally unfazed. Say hi. He's giving me the stink eye. I guess I better get back to business. Yep, he 100% gave me the stink eye. Alright, so anyway, look at this gorgeous color though, guys. Isn't that, you could use this on, like I said, skin, landscape. I mean, it has a strong orange undertone, which is from this, and I think a little bit from this. So if you wanted to tone that orangey down, you would add, let's see, let's get out my little, I love this thing. My little watercolor wheel. And so you look up the orange. Just find your little orange here. Ta-da. And if you want to, hold on a second, I've got the wrong side. There we go. Find out how to balance something like, say I have too much orange. add blue. A little bit of blue would balance that out and sort of tone it down. And the same goes for red. If you find that you have too much red in a picture, and this would apply to colored pencils as well. So if you use colored pencils, markers, whatever, it still applies. If you have too much red, then you add green. Just a little, but it has to be the same temperature. I cannot stress this enough. If you're still listening and watching, which I hope you are, please like and subscribe. Thank you. It has to be the same temperature, or it's just going to come out weird. So if you have a cool red and you have too much of that cool red, pick a cool green and just add a little bit, like a light layer, and it will tone that down. So just to play around with this, I'll show you what I mean. I know this is kind of a side note, but it really is worth mentioning. I'm going to grab my little palette here. This is the palette that, hear that? It's ceramic. Love it. I have like all my cheap paints in here, basically. My like total, like my master's touch and all that stuff. Just for when I'm playing around. But if you wanted, like say this is too orange for you, you could either continue to play around with those 3 colors, or you could do this. Oh, I really do need to rinse my paint. Yuck. It's really gross looking. Okay, so this is kind of a partially warm part. It's almost neutral. It's sort of warm but sort of cool because it comes from the cool yellow, and then you got your 2 warm colors, the magnesium and the door. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Anyway, so it's kind of, I would say it leans, it's really right in the middle. So in this case, it might not matter. If it's kind of in the middle in terms of temperature and stuff, it might not matter as much. So I'm going to grab, I'm not going to use the Viridian because that it's extremely bright. So I'm just going to grab a little of this, and I'm going to make sure this should do. Yep. Oops, just stuck it in there. All right. This is just my cheap paint. Let's see what I mean. And it won't show up until it dries. You don't want to add too much, because if you add too much, it's going to overtake it. And you don't want that. You just want it to calm things down a little. So let me dry that and I will be back. Okay, so it's dried now. By adding that green, I'm trying to remember the green that is. I don't know. It might be permanent green, I think. Anyway, it's kind of a cool green, as you can hopefully tell. Let's see. That's the green that I added. So, and I added just a little, and look how it changed it. See how much it muted it so it's not so bright? You do have to be careful you don't add, you want just like a light thin layer. You don't want to add too much of that complementary color, because otherwise, as I said, it will completely overtake it. So that's just a little fun side note that I thought you guys would appreciate. Little tidbit of nugget of knowledge. So now we're going to move on. I just had to share that because stuff like that just absolutely fascinates me. So let's claw this aside and get to some other stuff. Now, these 3 things I got and the extra heavy molding paste was $15.28, which is about normal. That's about what you'd pay for at any craft store. It's about right. It might be a little less maybe than, like, say, Michael's. It might be a little less. It's semi-opaque acrylic texture medium, and it's by Golden. This is really great for a number of things. If you want to add texture to your pictures, it can be mixed with paint or it can be painted over. Although I would recommend gouache instead of watercolor if you're gonna just put it, like, use a stencil and just, you know, or put it in whatever way you wish. There's a whole bunch of ways you can use it. If you're gonna paint over it, I would first of all let it dry completely, and then I would recommend either gouache or acrylic paint. The watercolor tends to kind of slide right off of it, my personal experience. And the little square here indicates the semi-opaque nature of it. It is a light gray medium for building texture, thick and dense, retains tool marks and peaks. Use alone or blend with acrylic mediums or colors. Yeah. I would definitely not use that with acrylic. There's different textural mediums that you can use. Now, here's something else that I have not yet had a chance to play with. It's called Texture Paste Transparent Matte. It's by Ranger, which is the guy that does a lot of stuff. If I'm mistaken, I think this is Tim Holtz's products line. Please don't roast me if I'm wrong. Ranger Inc. I think Tim Holtz I think this is his line of stuff. Let me know in the comments if I'm right, guys. I have some of his distress inks. I'm still learning how to use them, so I haven't done any videos about them yet. But I saw this and I was like, huh. So it says artist quality texture paste for building dimensional textures and with stencils and more. Dries clear with a matte finish. That's why I got this versus this. This, I think, is going to be more friendly to watercolor, as long as it's not heavily diluted, than this would be. This is more for the acrylic or the gouache. I thought this would be a little more watercolor friendly. I like that it dries clear too, supposedly. As you can see, I haven't used it at all. But the print is very small. So let's break out the old lady eye again. Clear drying, artist quality texture paste, ideal for layering and creating three-dimensional surfaces. Use with stencils for defined shapes or apply freely with a palette knife. Yeah, and you can apply paste over desired area of the stencil. Lift the stencil slowly and allow the texture paste to dry. Color can be applied under dried texture paste or mixed into the paste prior to use. Yes, like I was saying earlier. This can be done much the same way, but this, because it's extra heavy, requires a thicker paint, or it's just not going to work. And I thought this, because it dries transparent and is not as heavy, it's probably more like a gel. Let's open it and see. Hold on, let me get my little X-Acto knife so I can undo this and see what we got here. Be careful when you're handling this thing, by the way. I've sliced myself a couple of times. It does not feel good. All right, let's get that off. Ooh, and it's sliding everywhere. There we go. All right. Ooh. Okay, this reminds me more of a gel. I have something like this. I don't think it dries clear. Oh, let's see if I can find it. Okay, I have something here that might be similar to that, but I don't think it dries clear. Ugh, and it's dirty. Wow. Anyway, this is heavy gel gloss. I think this is a thicker, more opaque version of that. And opaque just means that it's not see-through. So if they say something is semi-opaque, like I was saying about the paints earlier, it just means you can kind of see through it, but you kind of can't. It kind of covers up, but kind of doesn't. This is supposed to dry clear. And the texture is it's very soft. Look at that. Very shiny. And which is funny, it says it dries matte, but yet it has a shine to it. How can it dry matte if it has such a shine to it? That's very interesting to me. I don't know. Huh. This is going to be fun to play around with, I think, because I have a lot of stencils. So, moving on, I got these, and I thought I was getting a 4-pack of them, but whatever. Arteza, I said that right. They make a pretty decent set of budget pens and pencils and stuff like that. Paint pens, which is what these are. These write pretty good. I need to get me some paper. Hold on. Oh, no. Paper. Here we go. This will work. If I remember correctly, the tulip paint was about eight. Yeah, the texture ranger paint was like $8.99, and the molding paste was about $15. So, but you could see that you get a much larger amount. So they're reasonably priced for being what they are. And I believe the Arteza was $7, give or take. You always shake them up, and you hear that rattle. There's like a ball or balls inside of it that help mix up the paint and stuff like that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I have not even primed these yet. Oh, cool. Let's see how easily it primes. I shook it up. And when you push down, don't push like super, super hard, because you can damage these nibs and then the paint won't come out right. So just when you push kind of gently. And shake it a little if you have to, but don't shake too hard with the lid off, or you might have paint go flying everywhere. That has happened. There we go. It took about, what, 6 pumps? So let's see how this writes. And for those of you, the younger generation, this is called cursive. Ooh, that writes really smoothly. This is mixed media paper. That writes pretty smoothly. Be interesting to see how it dries. Oh, okay. And again, this one isn't primed either. 2. You should always do this even after you prime it, because it mixes, like I said, it mixes the paint up, so it'll come out better. Always give it a shake, even after you've primed it. Well, that took about 3 or 4. Huh, okay. Woo, this one is definitely more fluid. Oh, this one writes more fluidly than the silver. That's interesting. I mean, they both write nice, but I would say the gold is a little more fluid than the silver. But I mean, for $7, these are nice. I have more of these types than I probably should, but you can never have enough paint pens. So there was that, and I think y'all, that is it. I don't think I have anything else. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun making all this. It was fun to show you guys all the things. And again, this was from Blick. I did not get this from Amazon. Just
so
as
one last item
spirit of transparency.
Is
man,
these
I love
favorite
this
Castell
thing.
Albrecht
Isn't that amazing?
Watercolor.
I absolutely love this thing.
Have been
Who knew, right?
using
I picked it up
primarily
at Blick's. Crondash Supras
It's absolutely
and
phenomenal.
Derwent's
It's a game changer.
pencils.
All right, guys. I will
But I
catch
wanted
you on
to
the next
try
one. Have a
something
good one.
different.
Bye.
So I saw these and I thought, So I think I may do a whole separate video on these. Oh, it's got a. Oh, it's not. I thought it was a scratch, and it's actually like a little. Yeah, it's on the other side too. Like they're indents in the tin. Huh. Okay, like the regular pencils, they are made in Germany, not China. Thank you, Lord. And which you know that automatically means that the quality is going to be better. So I started out with I just grabbed the small set because I wasn't sure if I was really going to like them or not. The Derwents, they're okay, but I prefer my Supras, to be honest. So I thought I would just try with a small set like this just to kind of see how I like them, and they look absolutely stunning. My gosh. You know what would be fun is to do a comparison like between these and the other two sets. I know the one set I don't have the full set of, the Supras, but the Derwents I have the full set of. But either way, I could just try and grab similar colors maybe. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. That might be an interesting idea. So I just got the really, really small set, and I believe it was $33, which, is a bit pricey for just a small set like this, but everything's gotten more expensive. I think this is, let's see, it says 24, so there's probably another layer. Hold on. There's not. What? There's no way there's 24 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there is. Wow, it doesn't seem like there's 24 here. It seems smaller than that. As I'm sitting here counting, I'm like, it doesn't seem like there's 24 here, but there is. Wow, that's weird. Optical illusion or something, I don't know. But okay, so here is the top of the tin that has their company logo. And if you have not looked up their story, their history, it's actually quite fascinating. 1761, the lady, her husband, she married Castell, and I think Faber was her name, something like that. I forget. I might be getting it a little twisted, but these two names are a mix of her name and her husband's last name. But she married the guy, and when it's a whole big history. You should look into it. It's fascinating. So anyway, I wanted to give these a try just to see. So why don't we do a quick little swatch, and we'll see how it looks, okay? Okay, so let's widen this out a little. All right. So before we do the swatch, though, I thought I'd show you the little booklet and stuff that came with it. It's just a little thing about their history. Oh, right here. Find it in 1761. Oh, it's in German too, which is cool. But yeah, there's a whole little history. And there's the castle that they lived in. How cool is that? I don't know if you can see that, but that's the castle they lived in. I'm like, wow. So they have it in other languages. Is regarded as a pioneer in watercolor painting. He would certainly have been impressed by the properties of the artist's watercolor pencils named after him. Yeah, and this, it's just a really fascinating company history. It's worth looking into if you're nerdy like I am about that sort of thing. Here's a whole little history about how you can use them and some of the different ways that you can use them. Oh, here we go. Here's a little list of all the products that they have. You know, I don't know why people waste their money on these box sets. I really don't. The wooden box, they're so horribly expensive. I really don't understand why, but, you know, because I end up half the time taking my stuff out of my the tins anyway. The only ones I don't are the watercolor pencils and my Neos. They are in the tins that they came in, just because of, you know, the nature of what they are. But everything else goes straight into a case. So I don't know. I guess to each their own, but I would not waste my money on those wooden sets. They're just overpriced. Anyway, yeah, this is a whole list of all their colors and the light fastness and all that jazz. That's pretty cool. This is a cool little booklet. Now this came with it, and I don't know what this is. Pit graphite matte. I don't know why this is with a watercolor. I don't know. Whatever. So there is the white. I don't think I really need to do the white. That seems unnecessary, but let's just do a little mark of each just to see really quickly. So, and this is light yellow glaze, which is really nice if you're doing just like, oh, you want a soft effect. And this one says cadmium yellow, which, and don't push very hard either. You don't need to push very hard. So let's see. Dark chrome yellow. I'm wondering if these are comparable to the pencils. There's another thought. I did that with Prismacolor watercolor pencils. Please see that is a fabulous. I did a review over the watercolor pencils, and then I did a comparison toward the end of them with the actual Prismacolor pencils, the regular ones, to see how they compared. It was very eye-opening, to say the least. So, let's see, what is this one? Dark cad orange. And I know for folks that are scared about the cadmium, you know what? I think that whole thing is completely overblown. People worry they're going to get cancer from their paints or pencils. The paints, maybe, if you're breathing in the fumes a lot, if you're breathing it in a lot, like especially if it's oil, but honestly, I think the whole people freaking out over it having cadmium, I think it's just way overblown. That's just my opinion. So, pale geranium lake. Unless I decide to start eating my pencils or, you know, drinking my paint, I'm not worried. I think the food, the stuff that's in our food is way more cancer causing than the cadmium in some of these paints and pencils. That's just my, I think the food is way more cancer causing, frankly. Let's see, deep scarlet, which is, ooh, but that's nice. Ooh, let's see, we'll just do a quick little thing of these. Dark red. It's a nice range of colors for being a small set. Let's see, I'm not pre-sharpening these. You probably should, but oh, I forgot. Magenta. I almost said magenta, and I was like, no, I can't speak today. All right. Helio reddish. This is one of my favorite colors. It's like this. It's almost like a darker version of Delft blue. Jeez, I forget how to say that. Anyway, you guys know the color I'm talking about, right? It's kind of like this bluish, purplish thing. It kind of reminds me of a darker version of that. And this is ultramarine, which is one of the essential colors you should have in every palette. Should have ultramarine in it. Every palette. dude, for a second I thought that said ultramarine hell, and I was like, what? Excuse the language, but I was like, what? And I realized it was the German. Never mind. I can't read either, apparently. Okay, light ultramarine. Oh, bro, it's things have been interesting lately. Okay, let's see. Phthalo blue. The blue ranges are very nice. I'm digging their blues. I don't know why these are so much smaller than those, but okay. Let's see. Dark phthalo green. This is just a quickie swatch. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'll probably do a separate video on these once I get the larger set, which I probably will. But I'm not going to lie, I was not that impressed with the Derwents. They're nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not sorry I bought them, but the Supers are much more pigmented. Let's see, light green. If you would like me to do a comparison between those two pencils and perhaps even these ones, once I get the larger set, let me know. I would be happy to do it. I am totally open to you know, any suggestions or feedback. I can't promise anything, but I'm open to you know, suggestions and stuff. Yeah, light green, so that's pretty good. Let's see, earth green, yellowish. That's also one of my favorite colors. I think that's a Pablo color too. And speaking of an underrated, underused pencil set, that the Pablos are one of them. Venetian red, which is also an excellent color for like brick, landscapes, even skin, actually. You'd be surprised the colors you can use in skin. Burnt ochre, another essential color. Burnt ochre, burnt sandalwood, raw sandalwood, and raw ochre. Very essential to doing a great many things. They are absolutely essential. Raw umber. Let's see. Walnut brown's another good one for landscapes, for all kinds of things. It's like a grayish brown. I don't know if you can see here, but the gray that's in this is very, very evident. I can see it just putting it to the paper without even activating it. I can see the gray undertones in it. It's interesting. Warm gray 5. Sorry, I had to like look at my V and remember what that was. There's a lot of young folks that wouldn't even have a clue about any of that, which is sad. I could do all kinds of things and just write it in cursive and they would look at me like, what? It's really sad. Warm gray 2. We could take over the world, just do it in code and write in cursive. Okay, and of course black. Oh, did you know Schwartz, I believe I said that right, is black for German. I do have German in me too, by the way. I'm part English and part German. And you could tell if you were to look at me, you would see the German is very evident. Very evident. Okay, so now that we have these swatched, let's just take a brush and just go over these really quick and see how they look. I would suggest a little hand towel like this, or a little paper towel. I recommend these though because they're a little tougher, a little more absorbent than the paper towels. They're a little sturdier. They come in a box that looks like a Kleenex, but they're fabulous. I may have mentioned that earlier, but it's worth re-mentioning because they're really fabulous. All right, let's see what this looks like. Ooh, that's pretty. Nice and bright. That reminds me very much of the pencil color. Sorry, my brain decided it wasn't going to work. It reminds me very much of the pencil. I think I am going to do a comparison, but I'll do that on a separate video because this video is already run way long because I had so much stuff to show you guys. So I'll do that in a separate video. So be on the lookout for that. I will do a video and I will compare the pencils with the the watercolors with the regular pencils to see if there's any difference, because of course they're going to change when they're activated. So ooh, that's pretty. Very pigmented. Oh my gosh, these are nice. Okay, these are nice, guys. These are really nice. Very pigmented. I would say they're easily on par with I added too much water, sorry. Definitely on par with the Supras. And definitely better than the Derwents. And this one's not quite as pigmented as the others, but reds typically tend to be either overly pigmented or overly under. They tend to go one way or the other. I think it just depends. Like, see how this one's a little more pigmented even than that one. These are nice, though. I definitely like these better than the Derwents. I will probably not buy them again. I don't hate them, but if I was going to spend my money on more watercolor pencils, I will probably buy these Faber-Castell ones. Albright. I think they call it Albright. I don't know. I would probably buy these again. Just on my initial assessment here, they're very nice. Ooh, they activate very easily, which is really nice. Ooh, pretty. This reminds me of more of a mauve, purple or a mauve than it does a magenta, but I mean, I don't know. I guess my idea of magenta leans more toward the pink than the purple, but I think it just differs from country to country a little bit. That was the ultramarine, I think. Yeah, that looks like ultramarine. Ooh. No, it isn't. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna look. This one is Helio Reddish. I apologize. That one is Helio Reddish. My bad, guys. I believe this is the ultramarine. Yeah, sorry. My bad. That is the Helio Reddish, and that is the ultramarine. I know I was getting it twisted. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Ooh, that's very light. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Wow. Is that again? I gotta look this back up. What is this one again? Ultramarine light. No wonder it's so light. Okay. No wonder it's light. There's the phthalo. Phthalo. Okay, if you see it, it's spelled PHT-alo, something like that. It's with the PH is like a f sound, like as in farm. That should help you, I hope, because I had trouble with that initially too. Some of these names, they're clearly not English. Oh, look at that pretty green. Ooh. Ooh, I love these two greens. Here's the warm greens. That's another thing that I learned recently. What a split palette is. I was like, what? And they said it's basically where you have two of like each, like a warm and a cool. And I'm thinking, oh, that's brilliant, because frequently you're going to need, one or the other. So that's something I am going to be exploring soon. Setting up a palette like that. I don't think I have an empty palette that's big enough. I might have to get one that's a little bigger, but I've been having a lot of fun. I've got two videos. I made a sparkly palette with some of my cheaper Artist Loft pearlescent and iridescent paints that I had, and then I show you how to one way to make a regular type palette. I have it right here, actually. I did a whole little video about this, the making of this palette, which, as you can see, has been well used, and it's not as hard as you think. So please check that out. It's under tutorials, and I hope you will find it useful. It's not as hard as people think. So this is that brown that I told you has all the gray in it. Can you not see all that gray now? That walnut, you can, the gray is pretty obvious. Wow, that warm gray, you can barely see it. No, wait, that was the warm gray 5. My bad. Hold on. Yeah, I apologize. This is the this is the walnut brown. That's the warm gray 5, and then this is the lighter one. Sheesh, Lord. All right. It's been a long week, people, and it's just started. Oh my goodness. It's all right. God is good. All right. So, what do you guys think? Pretty nice, huh? So, this is what they look like. I rather like those. They activated super easy. My gosh. These are definitely, I think, a winner, and I will very likely, at some point when I have the money, probably get the full set of these. If I was going to have 2 sets, these and the supers would be my first 2 choices. The Prismas are nice. I don't dislike them, but they're kind of on the level of the Derwents. Like the Derwent watercolor pencils and the Prisma watercolor pencils are kind of on the same playing field to me. These Faber-Castell watercolor pencils and the Supras are a level up from both of those, I think. That's just my quick, humble opinion for that. So it was like $33 on Amazon. I know other places have them like Blick, and you can probably get them just about any art store. I would not get them at Michael's though, because if they even have them at all, they probably charge too much. So you're better off going to Amazon or companies like Blick.